guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you did not know who I am, hi, my name is Kaylin and I'm so happy you're here. Today's video is a reading vlog. These are my favorite videos to watch and to make, and this time around we're doing popular book talk books, which we all know what book talk is. You either love it or you hate it or you're kind of meh, but we all know what book talk is. To me, in my head, book talk popular books are a different breed of book. There's something about these books that people go crazy over, and I want to find out what that is. So today I have picked 3 books, each from different genres. We have a romance, we have a thriller, and we have a fantasy, and I'm really excited. So I'm gonna let you go over to Past Kaylin and she's gonna take it away. Hi guys, I do apologize for this lighting, but it's currently in the evening and I wanted to tell you guys what book I've started with and a little bit about the book and that kind of thing. So first book I started with was actually The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. I've never read a Freida McFadden in my life, but I wanted to have a book in each genre, like I said, and I know one of the popular book talk thriller authors are Freida McFadden. On book talk, I don't really see thrillers being talked about a lot unless it's like a Freida, sometimes Riley Sager, Elisa Jewell I think will come up every once in a while, but other than that, like I don't really see a lot of like thrillers being mentioned, which sucks because thriller is such a great genre. I love thrillers, but Freida, I had to go to Freida because, you know, she's one of the most popular ones, and the most popular one is The Housemaid. So I started it last night and I read I think the first 50 pages. I read it pretty quickly. It's really easy to read. I'm 17% of the way in on chapter 10 and I'm on page 61, so I read 60 pages. And in this book you are following this young woman named Millie who's had a struggle in her life. She has talked about being in prison for 10 years. She hasn't really said much about that, but she's just got out of prison and she's searching for a job and she's living in her car and she applies for this live-in nanny position to this very well-off family, and she goes there and she meets Nina Winchester, who is the mom, and then Andrew, who is Nina's husband, and then their little girl Celia, I think they call her Cece, and she gets the job. She goes and lives there, and right off the bat something flips because she goes there, the house is pristine, like everyone's so nice. The next day she gets there, house is trashed. The mom, Nina, is just in a completely different mindset. She's kind of gaslighting her in a way, but also she's kind of like making her seem like she's going crazy, like telling her like, oh, I told you this, but really she didn't. But she's like, did she? And just being a bitch, may I say so. And the little girl is just like her mother, but the dad seems pretty okay. Now, the thing with this book is the whole entire time I was reading this, I'm like, have I read this? Because this seems so familiar to me. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this book. I just want to update you guys before I continued reading even more because I'm reading this very quickly and I'm hoping to knock this book out in like a day. I have 3 hours left of it, so I'm pretty sure I can knock this out pretty quickly, even with work this week because I do work full-time again. We'll see, but I will update you guys when I have another date, I guess. I have just finished The Housemaid by Freida McFadden and I wanted to give you guys my thoughts and my rating and all that. So this book is a very fast-paced, addictive thriller, which I think is what we all like when it comes to our thrillers. The chapters are short, it keeps you reading, it's not boring, it's not slow, pacing is great. However, with this book, I was reading it and I'm like, have I read this book before? Is the entire time, like literally before I even hit the quarter mark, I was like, have I read this book before? Because it's so similar. And I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and say A, B, and C happens because I think this is the direction this book is gonna go in. And I was right. And the reason I knew that, because I'm a detective, no, it's because this book is heavily either inspired or copied or something of a really popular book called The Last Mrs. Parrish. It also gave me vibes of Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Parrish. And then The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware has the maid trope. I don't know if necessarily The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware is really heavily influenced on this, but that's initially what gave me that, ooh, like I think I've read this before. And then when the plot started thickening and like the twists were happening, I was like, this is a book that I just read. Like I literally just read this book. So I don't know if this is a thing or maybe I'm just last to know about it, that Freida like very much did take the idea of that book and just make it her own with little subtle changes. I don't know, but I'm not feeling great about it. It makes me feel really icky that this was done. And I'm not necessarily saying like it's confirmed. These are just my opinions. This is just what I feel like has been done. And if you guys have read any of those books that I mentioned and read this book, please let me know if you feel the same way, or am I just crazy? But I feel like I'm not crazy, because there's no way this author didn't read those books, or at least The Last Mrs. Parrish, and came up with the idea of her book on her own. Like, there's no way, because The Last Mrs. Parrish is a really popular thriller book. It's a really well-loved thriller book. A lot of people love The Last Mrs. Parrish. So I don't know. So I don't really want to rate it for that reason. I don't really feel like I should rate it, but I don't think I'll ever read a Frida McFadden book again, because I just don't. I don't know. And also the writing with Frida McFadden is a word I often use to describe this type of writing is fanficky. And that's what it was reading like the writing is just fanficky. But enough of that. We're gonna move on to our next book, which you guys told me which one to start because I wasn't sure. I was debating between the two, and that is This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. It is the last month of summer, so I wanted to read a summer romance, although technically my summer isn't over until I get back from the beach. I go to the beach this second week of September. Well, I go to the beach. So like after I get back from a beach trip, fall. Immediately fall, although I'm already craving fall. But I wanted a romance book that was summery, because it's still summer technically, even though everyone's ready for fall. It's still summer. It's still August. This one came through on my library, and I thought it was perfect because it's a popular book talk book and it fits this video so well. I'm very nervous. I've never read a Carly Fortune book before. I've heard really mixed reviews on all of her books. I've heard good things about this one. A lot of people tend to really like this book, so I don't know. We'll see. I will come back when I've started it and tell you guys what's it about and all that stuff. So, see you guys in a bit. Hi guys, future editing Kaylin here. I realized that I never explained you guys what This Summer Will Be Different is about, so let me explain it. In this book, you are following Lucy, who has a best friend named Bridget, and they are like soul sisters. They met in college, and ever since then they just clicked. They're soulmates as friendship. Now, Bridget is getting married, and a week before her wedding, she flees to her hometown. It's like a small coastal town in Canada, and she needs Lucy to come with her. Lucy is kind of hesitant because Felix, who is Bridget's brother, her and him have had something in the past, and something happened that they're not speaking. They're really awkward around each other, and now she has to go back because Bridget wants her, and Bridget never asked for help, and she's like, okay, she needs me. But when she gets there, Bridget is acting all fine and dandy and is like, let's have a Lucy and Bridget summer. And you know, she's avoiding every single question about the wedding, and like if she's having it, like she doesn't really answer anything at all. She just wants to have a week with them together. She says she's homesick. So in this week, she has to navigate that, but she also has to navigate around Felix, and she's kind of struggling with it because a long time ago, Bridget told her that she can't fall in love with Felix, and you know, things happen. So she's kind of battling with that, her real feelings, but like Bridget's her best friend and she doesn't want to hurt her best friend, and kind of just tiptoeing around the idea. And they all spend a week together, and that's all I'm gonna say, and that's what it's about. So continue on with the video. Hi guys, I wanted to give a little reading update. I am now on chapter 31 of This Summer Will Be Different, and I have some thoughts. So first off, I love the vibes of this book because this book is about a very small coastal town in Canada. I love the vibes because I am actually going to the beach in like 3-ish weeks to a very small beach town. So I'm reading this at the right time because it's just getting me excited to go. But other than that, I don't really care. Like, I'm having a hard time caring about these characters and like wanting them to be together and to root for them. And I think it's just because I feel like it's the same issue repeating itself over and over again every single chapter. And I'm like, can we move on? Can we just discuss this all like adults? Like, I understand why Bridget said don't fall in love with her brother. Like, I get that now, but also at the same time, like, we're all adults. We're almost 30. like, can we just discuss this like adults and see if we can work it out? And I feel like if you're gonna stand between your best friend's happiness, like, you shouldn't do that. Like, that's not right for a best friend to do. So I don't know, I'm just getting a little bit annoyed at that. And I'm also getting annoyed that like every single chapter there's mention of something sexual, and this is one of the main reasons why I don't really get along with majority of the TikTok romance books that I read, because they're very smut forward and there's smut or something sexual mentioned on every single page, and I'm just like, not for me. Like, I love that if that's for you, but it's not for me. I really could care less about if a book has smut in it or not. So I'm getting a little bit annoyed with that. And I will say I do like Felix. Felix is a guy that's like, if he wanted to, he would. He's that type of guy, and he does everything because he is just in love with Lucy. Like, it's so obvious he is, and Lucy's like, you're not in love with me. I'm like, girlfriend, get it together. So I don't know. I think if I read this book a couple months later, I wouldn't have liked it as much. I probably would have DNF'd, but I think because I am going to the beach and I want to get in that mindset, it's a right time, right book. That's all I've got to say. I've got like an hour left of the book, so I'm gonna sit my butt here and we're gonna finish the book. So I'll see you when I finish the book and give you my rating. I'm here to report that I just finished reading This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune, and I gave it a 2-star only because I felt like there was some things in there that wasn't necessary. Like, I feel like it was longer than it should have. I felt like it kind of dragged out a little bit, in my opinion. I think just because we focused so much on like what happened in the past and like all the intimate scenes between them and her thinking about it, and it was just like on every single page it was like that, and I'm like, I don't care. Let's say it once, move on from it. We don't need to reiterate every single intimate interaction that happened between these two characters. Like, I don't really think that was necessary. I did really admire Lucy and Bridget's friendship. I love how they were able to kind of resolve this conflict they were having and move on from it and get even stronger. And I loved how Lucy was able to kind of pick herself back up once in her life and do things on her own and be okay with being on her own and being alone and finding what makes her happy and what she wants to do in life, because she was kind of lost this whole entire book until a certain point. And I love that she was able to find herself and find out what she really wants in life and what's going to make her happy and her life fulfilled for her. And I also really liked Felix. I love the small town coastal vibes, like I said, but I did really like it and I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a 2-star. Which is like an okay. I don't know if I'll ever read a Carly Fortune again, just because I've heard mixed reviews on all of her books. And if this is my review on one that has gotten really highly rated, I'm not sure I'm gonna read her later books, maybe her new releases. And this is like her writing growing and she's getting better, but I don't know, we'll see. But happy that's over with. We're gonna move on to the final book of this vlog, which is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I think it's the author. This is a very popular romantasy that's been going around Book Talk for the last couple weeks. This is the one that has the most buzz lately, so I wanted to read it. It is on Kindle Unlimited. I bought Kindle Unlimited just so I could read this book. I'm not really a Kindle Unlimited girly, although I have seen some books on Kindle Unlimited that I want to read that they put on recently, which I'm very happy about, so we'll see. But I know this book is going to take me the longest to read because I generally read fantasy longer. I'm really scared about this because I've heard this is a spicy book, but I don't know. I have no idea what it's about, so once I know, I will come back and tell you guys. But for now, let's go start Quicksilver. I'm excited. Hi guys, I'm here to update you guys because I have done some reading with Quicksilver, and I just want to give you my thoughts so far and what the book's about and all that jazz. So I am 36% of the way through this book, and I have been reading this very slowly. This book is taking me a lot longer to get into than I originally thought. Like, I thought I would eat this book up from what I've been hearing from TikTok and also here on YouTube. I've been hearing great things about it, but it's such a slow start. I have not been wanting to pick it up. I don't really want to reach for it. I don't really care to find out like what happens, and I'm just not like loving it, which is sad because I wanted to love this, but I think from this point on stuff picks up. I'm gonna tell you what it's about and then I'll tell this thought that I was just gonna say. So bear with me because I really try when summarizing books, but I don't always get it exactly how I want to get it. Like, I know how I want to say it in my head, but I don't verbally say it right, and I also am the type of person that needs it right in front of me and just like read it off like that. Like I can't memorize what's going on, so please bear with me. So in this book, you are following this girl named Saris, and she lives in this city called, I have the pronunciation guide up here, Zilvarin. And in this city, she lives in the third quarter, I think, which is like the poorest. Think like District 12 from Hunger Games. And she is the thief there. Like she steals a lot of things in order for her brother and her, I guess, mentor to survive. She steals water because one of the big things in this world is water is not a free thing. Like it's not just freely given. They have rations. And unfortunately, because she lives in the poor district, her rations are very little, and it is the runoff from the discarded water from the rich part of this city, and it's literally filtered through a grate. It's not even like properly filtered, so she steals water and all that. And you meet her when she's stealing something from one of the queen's guards, and long story short, she gets caught, she brings in front of the queen, and the queen wants to know how she was able to do it, and she wants to know all these things, and she mentions the Fae. And in this world, the Fae have been supposedly gone for like a really long time, but the queen brings them up and is like, they put you up to this, and she's like, what are you talking about? Like the Fae aren't a thing, and blah blah blah. Well, the queen's like, you're gonna die, I'm gonna kill everyone you love, and I'm gonna burn the third quarter down to the ground. Basically, the guard is doing his thing on her, right? And in the midst of her trying to fight for her life, she sees this sword out of the corner by that's kind of been calling to her this whole time. She pulls it, and all of a sudden like a pool of silver erupts out of this thing, and up comes this man out of the silver, and he to her is death. She's like, oh, he's coming for me. Well, he ends up taking her back, and she ends up back in the Fae realm, and she's presented in front of the king, and he has gave her a task to where she needs to figure out how to wield the quicksilver and make relics to be able to wield it. And because you can't just go in this quicksilver, the pool is what it's called, without like something on you, because you will die. So with that, she is being tasked to look after the king's daughter named Emerlyn. Lane is what they call her, and then one of her friends, Ren, and then this guy who I'm not convinced this is his real name. I don't know if this is his real name, but they call him Kingfisher in the book, which so odd, but they call him Fisher for short. And I'm like, that's not his real name. There's no way his real name is that. Well, he is the stepson to the king, but the king doesn't really claim him because he is from his wife's first marriage, so he doesn't really claim him and all that. And he has to wear this chain on his neck that has a pendant of a wolf, I think is what it is, or maybe something, I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter what the pendant is, but it's to keep him sane, because without it, he goes a little loopy, and it explains in the book. I don't really want to go into that because I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but he is an arrogant asshole, and I don't really like him. Like, I'm not into the arrogant asshole act like this. Like he just doesn't talk nice to her, and like he's called her the B word a couple times, and that's just a complete turn off for me. Like I don't like when a man says derogatory things towards me, and that's just me. Like I'm just not like that. I don't find that hot, so I don't really like him at all. I don't really care for him. I am interested to see like what happens in this world and like what exactly is going to happen, but right now I'm not like in love with the story. But that's pretty much this whole story. Hopefully I explained that correctly, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, and that's all my thoughts so far. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I'll see you guys with the next update. I am really sorry if you can hear the fan noise in the background. Apologize, but I have 70 pages left of Quicksilver, and I'm stressed. I don't know how this is going to end. I'm really worried. I am like, please don't break my heart. Update, I like the book. So it took me a minute to get into it. I hit the 30% mark and I started liking it. 50% mark, I was like, okay, 70% mark is really when I was like, I think I really like this book, but I'm really scared. Okay, let's finish the book, shall we? I want to share my current favorite little snack. The Dots pretzels, the honey mustard pretzel twist. Amazing. And then this dip from Target, it's called Everything Seasoning Dip. It is so good. I can't even describe how good this dip is. These two together in an elite combo. I am here to end this video. Yes, you've seen me in this shirt 3 separate times, and yes, they are filmed on the same day because I forgot to film these clips. Oops. So I finished Quicksilver a couple days ago, and I wanted to give you guys my overall thoughts and feelings of Quicksilver. I enjoyed myself. It took me a minute to get into this book. Like, I feel like the first chapter I was into it because it was exciting, it was like action-packed, and then kind of hit this really slow period. The 30% mark is kind of when I started to be like, okay, you know, maybe I see it. And then 50% mark, I was like, oh, okay, because I was getting to know the characters. I knew them well at this point, and I started to like understand certain things. 70% is really when I was like, I freaking love this book. I'm so here for it. I'm so excited to see where this goes. And it was a really good pick. And I'm really happy I ended this video with this one because the last two that we read weren't really hits for me. This one I'm so glad was a hit. And I would definitely recommend it, especially if you are a Sarah J. Maas fan. I think you would really adore this book. Just give it a chance. Yeah, I really liked it. I'm excited to see the next book and what happens. I will say there is smut scenes in this book, but if you know me and you've been on my channel for a while, you know how I feel about smut. I'm not really one for it. I could care less if it's in the book. Like, if it's in the book, cool, but I'm like not really gonna sit there and like get excited over it. I love that if you do, like I love if you read just for the smut, love that for you, but it's just not for me. I think because a lot of the times the smut kind of takes away from certain scenes and certain plot lines, and sometimes the story just becomes about the smut or until we can get to those smut scenes, and I just don't really like that, and I've been finding that recently. However, this book had smut scenes and they were done very well, and I think they made sense. And yeah, there was a lot of times where I was like kind of cringing at certain things, but I think that's okay, and that comes with just the territory of, I think, a romantasy. Like, certain things are gonna be a little cringy. So yeah, I think I gave it a 3.5 and I'm pleasantly surprised. So that wraps up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you've read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts and your feelings and like your ratings are. If you want me to do another video like this, let me know, because I certainly will. I love like reading books that are popular on other platforms to see like, are they really popular because they're good, or are they popular because they're, you know, the newest it thing? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to be kind to yourself and others around you, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Goodbye.